Hey, and welcome back to Bain's Bites. I'm Bain. When people ask me what's your favorite thing to make, my first answer without any hesitation is biscuits and sausage gravy. So let's whip some up today. Now on a Sunday morning when you've got family and friends and kids running around, you may not want to make biscuits from scratch, and there's nothing wrong with using frozen biscuits or biscuits from a tube. Someday we'll show you how to make biscuits from scratch, but I'm just looking to make a good breakfast for everybody without spending too much time. We've got some friends coming over this morning, so I'm going to get some biscuits in the oven. I've got it preheated. I'm just going to lay them down on the baking sheet with the edges touching so they'll rise up good and tall. So let's throw them in the oven. Alexa, set a 22-minute timer. The biscuits are in the oven. Let's start making that awesome sausage gravy. Now we all know I like things spicy, so I get my favorite hot and spicy breakfast sausage, get it opened up and into a hot pan, start browning it up. Just start letting your sausage brown and break it up with a spatula. And get it cooked through. Let your sausage kind of start to brown on one side and then flip it over, and once you get the other side starting to brown, it's a little easier to break up. Man, that smells good though. I love sausage. Sausage, sausage, sausage. Perfect time for a cup of coffee. Alright, so some of the sausage is really starting to brown up. So I'm just going to keep stirring it and flipping it and breaking it into little pieces until we get it cooked all the way through. It smells really good. I love the smell of sausage. Makes me hungry already. Alright, we've got our sausage browned up, broken up into little pieces, not too small. But again, when you're making this, you can make them as big as small as you want. So you can see we've got some fat in the pan from the sausage, but not quite enough. Now there's a lot of different ways to make biscuits and sausage gravy. But when I'm doing mine, I like to add a little bit of butter straight to the sausages. Take about 2 tablespoons of butter and add it into the sausage. And some people pull the sausage out separately and make the gravy and then add the sausage back in, but I just don't feel the need to do that. I like to keep it simple. So I'll let my butter melt down in here. And as that's melting down, we're going to put a little bit of flour in here and start to let that kind of mix in and soak. Let that flour kind of mix in and we'll start to cook it down a little bit so we can get some of that raw flour flavor out. That butter and grease from the sausage will soak that flour up, coat it all over the sausage. Get the last little bit of that butter in there, stir it around. And we'll just stir this on medium-high heat. Let that flour kind of cook down a little bit and get rid of some of that taste. And in essence, what we're doing is making a roux. So a roux is a way to thicken a sauce or a soup or a gravy, and it's a fat and flour mixed together. It's used for things like gumbo, obviously for gravy like this. Now you want to keep stirring so that flour doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan and burn. Just stir it around on a medium-high heat. Let it cook for a couple minutes. Now you'll notice I haven't added any salt or pepper yet. 1, because the sausage has a lot of seasoning in it as it is. And 2, because I don't want to season it until I get my milk in and get it thickened up so I know the flavor, and then I can season it accordingly. But with biscuits and sausage gravy, you got to make sure you got lots of fresh cracked black pepper on hand. So it's been 3 or 4 minutes, and when I lean over and smell it, I smell a faint, light, kind of a toasted nut smell, and that's how I know my roux is cooked down just enough. We'll go ahead and grab our milk and add it in. So we'll start to add our milk and just stir as we go. You can always add more milk, but you can't take it out. So we want to stir and make sure all that flour gets dissolved into the milk, and that milk will drop our pan temperature down. So we'll just gently stir and bring it back up, and as soon as it hits a simmer, you'll see that roux activate, and this will go from sausage and milk to sausage gravy. So the gravy's just starting to come to a simmer, and you can see it's starting to thicken up. And like I said earlier, if it's too thick, you can add a little bit more milk and thin it back out. Sure smells good though. So our gravy's come up to a simmer. We can see it's thickened up nicely. It's smelling great. It's looking even better. It's about as thick as I like it. And if by chance you added too much milk, and you do need to thin it out for any reason, as a last resort, you can take some butter and some flour, mix it up with your hands into kind of a putty or a paste, and put little doppels in, and that'll help thicken it up. or if you don't have that, as a last resort, cornstarch slurry will work, but you want to try to avoid that. Looks good. So let's give it a taste. Yep, that's it. Definitely needs some salt and pepper though. Add some salt in, and lots of black pepper. Perfect timing. The timer just went off. Let's check on the biscuits. Almost. Let's give them just one more minute. Now I always get a funny reaction when people ask me what's your favorite thing to make, and I answer this right here. They say, well, you're a chef. Really? That's your favorite? I say, you ask me. Not your favorite, what's my favorite? And this is the best dish I know. Makes me happy. So we've got everything ready. Let's throw it on a plate and give it a taste. Grab a hot, fresh biscuit. Some people don't like to cut them in half and serve them open face. That's all right. You don't have to, but I do. Once we've got our biscuit, get some of that nice, fresh, hot gravy. And don't be shy with it now. Let it run over the edges. It's one of those breakfasts that'll stick with you. Now if you've got a garden or happen to have some chives sitting around, you want to add a little touch of color, you can chop those up real fine and sprinkle them on top, but I say it's about as good as it can get right here as is. So let's dig in and give it a try. Yep. That's still my favorite. All this took less than half an hour to whip up. Super simple. One you definitely have to give a try. If you like what we're doing, subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching. A little coffee, a little biscuit and gravy. Brisket wants some, doesn't she? Too bad. Sorry, puppy. Not puppy food.